Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Noise. This is Shawn. I'm here with Michelle today, and we're going to be talking about viral marketing.
So Shawn, for our listeners, how would you define viral marketing?
So I would define viral marketing as something that is not a virus. Even though we're going to be talking about viral marketing today, I actually kind of hate the word just because it kind of has a negative connotation. When you think about something going quote unquote viral, you're really looking at a current customer, somebody that uses your service, buys your product, subscribes to your YouTube channel, telling a friend about your product. It's something that, at the very simplest form, it's word of mouth. And it's about, creating something, giving people the tools, and really, hoping that people tell a friend, and then hoping that those friends tell a friend. So as you know, you're not infecting a friend, you're just, telling them and hoping that they will then subscribe, buy, use your service.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess when I think of it too, it's like I can see where the negative connotation comes from because when I think viral marketing, I think infectious, which usually first thought it's like, oh, that's not something that you want. But I know in the book we are kind of loosely following some of these episodes on. They kind of describe how there's this like term of a viral loop. Do you want to kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a never-ending circle. The first step is to acquire a customer, get them to, take that conversion. And then once they are a customer, then you want them to tell somebody. And that's where, the tools come in. Maybe in an email you have a share button or forward to a friend or things like that. So they tell somebody, and then you acquire them as a customer, and then they tell somebody. So you kind of get the dominoes to fall, and it kind of takes on a life of its own.
Yeah. All right. And so, in order to qualify as viral marketing, then within this loop, does it have to include like unique new customers every time someone refers, or is it? I mean, I guess how do you see the exponential growth come from this?
It gets to a point where once those dominoes start to fall, and a friend tells a friend tells a friend, um, you know, it could be a friend telling two friends, based on the quality of your product. And you also have to think about it, in the age of social media, somebody telling a friend may be somebody just posting about it on their Facebook page, which is going to go viral in the sense that, whether they have 10 friends, which is really sad, or a couple hundred friends, like a lot of them are going to see that. So that's kind of the eyeballs. It's not doesn't always have to be one to one, and or you're with a bunch of people and you say it out loud. So it can kind of exponentially grow like that. I mean, you kind of think about it just from a visual sense as kind of cascading down, and that really is sort of at its core the definition of viral marketing.
So I know you touched base a little bit more about, word of mouth, and you've even, just in your most recent statement, talked about social. Are there other types of ways that viral marketing can occur?
Yeah, we actually we're just working on one here in house where we're trying to gain new email subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to do that was we were empowering and incentivizing our current email subscribers. So we sent everybody on our list a poll. It was, choose your favorite football team, and encouraged people to send it to a friend, with the incentive that, whichever team got the most votes would trigger a discount code. And so the incentive there was, well, okay, I want to get my friends to vote because I want to get this code. And then in order to take the poll, you had to sign up to the email list. So it was just a way of, something fun, something easy, empowering current subscribers. And, in this case, they weren't telling a friend just because they thought to tell a friend. We were kind of pushing them in that direction, which a lot of times you have to do. So,
Yeah.
Share with a friend is a great thing, tagging a friend, all those sorts of tactics can be, pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean that sort of incentivized method that you guys are using, that kind of reminds me of Dropbox. I don't know if you've used their services much, but I know in the past that they kind of would encourage in emails. They're like, "Hey, we'll offer you more space if you share with friends or refer friends." So that's a little bit more direct, but I like the idea of you guys kind of, implying maybe you should share amongst your friends and participate.
Yeah, and the payroll service Gusto, at the bottom of every email they send, it says, we'll give you $100 if you refer a friend. And so, referring a friend is, that's a great thing because people are going to take recommendations from friends and people they trust more so than even just brands.
Yeah. So I guess in your experience, have you, I mean, obviously you just talked about the retailer, about email subscribers, but I guess are there any like failures that you can think of when you've attempted to do viral marketing and there's things that you now know that you want to try to avoid? Or is it just one of those things where you just keep testing and either it's going to succeed or it's going to fail?
You definitely have to test. I think, when you're thinking about a viral marketing campaign, sometimes you have to think about the barrier to entry. We ran a photo contest one time, encouraging people to upload photos of themselves, performing a certain action. We just didn't get a lot of uploads, and it was just because people had to go to a page and they had to click upload, and it just was not as easy as hearting something or liking something. So, and we put a lot of effort into it and just didn't get a lot of responses. And so I would call that a failure in the sense that we didn't get the volume we wanted. There were a lot of impressions. Tons of people got to the page, so they were made aware of the brand. We just didn't get the conversions. And that just has to do sometimes with the nature of what it is. And asking somebody to just click one button is going to be a lot more effective than clicking upload, even though it seems kind of easy. But a lot of times it's not.
Yeah.
I think the big thing when you think about viral marketing is, when it's not going to succeed is when maybe your product or service is not at the level it needs to be. And then it can not only not succeed, but kind of backfire in the sense of then the word viral is actually negative. If you don't have product market fit for, what you're selling or pushing, people are not likely to refer, but at the same time, if somebody does refer because they're incentivized and the person on the other end is not happy with it, that's something negative and could end friendships. So you kind of have to make sure that your product is ready, that it's top notch, but also that it has the ability to go viral.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it seems like I feel like every time I see, campaigns that I consider to be viral, they always do something where it's easy to share too. Like there's no barrier to access, I guess, to doing so. So those seem to be, especially as a user, I'm like, oh wow, this is so easy for me to just hit the like button or the share button. And I know like YouTube and a lot of video platforms, if that's the kind of channel that you're driving towards, they make it so it's easy to embed anywhere on the website. So yeah, I guess. Are there any campaigns that you can think of recently that you consider to be successful or that just stuck with you the most?
Well, just take a step back. I think there's a difference between a product going viral and a campaign going viral. A product going viral in the sense of everybody's telling their friend about this new T-shirt or this great new SaaS product is different than a campaign going viral.
That's
which, a campaign going viral could be a video of a cat kissing a monkey, and that goes viral. And, I've always had people say, okay, well, how do we make this go viral? Well, you can't make something. You can push something in the general direction. But a campaign going viral isn't necessarily what we're thinking about or what we're going for. We want to use a campaign to make a product go viral. So it's just kind of important to, make that distinction. And, you think about, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the Area 51 campaign and that I think Budweiser, Bud Light was doing. And that sort of campaign went viral just because it was something people were posting about on social media. but the product itself didn't go viral. So, was a byproduct of it that people bought more Bud Light? Probably not. But it was essentially like a Super Bowl commercial. Everybody's talking about the commercial. They're not talking about the product.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the ones that kind of fall flat.
So I guess also in your experience, is there kind of a relationship between the two? Like, so when you're really pushing the product, you want to try to maybe do viral marketing for product focus, and then later on, after it's been established, maybe try to do those kind of campaigns that take off? Or do you think maybe running a campaign that quote unquote goes viral to gain awareness?
I think that's something that comes later.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a way to remind people of the brand, and maybe people that have already been exposed to a refer a friend or have gotten the word of mouth or seen something on social, and then it's like, oh yeah, there is that cat kissing a monkey. That's kind of cool, and it reminds me of the brand. So I think you have to start by, like I said, making a legitimate product, something that is worth sharing. Make sure that your current users are sharing it and telling people. And if you're not seeing the acquisition or the conversion and acquiring the new customer, then something's not right. So you need to do all that before you do something flashy that's just awareness focused.
Nice. So I guess I'm curious as to, what's your thought process when you're thinking that you do have the product ready to maybe try this traction channel? Like, how would you get started on one?
Well, like you said earlier, I would start by thinking about it as a user, and how I would like to be interacted with. I think the first thing is sort of building the architecture in a very simple way. You kind of have to think about the entire loop, and not just saying, okay, I'm going to have this person refer a friend. So you kind of need to think about how you're going to talk to the current customer and how you want them to talk to a potential one. So kind of putting words in their mouth, so to speak. And so that's kind of the messaging and the language is where I would start. And then just the architecture of it all. If you're asking somebody to click a button to forward to a friend and it requires 3 steps, then maybe you kind of need to take a step back on that. The biggest thing is not overcomplicating it and simplifying it.
Nice. Good takeaways to take from that.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Cutting Through the Noise. I hope we didn't infect you too much. And that was us talking about viral marketing. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere where you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time.